And here we are. Impromptu. My camera's all over the place, though. I got to fix that. I got a little too far. Things have been moved around a little bit. So I'm going to readjust. Oh, too far. I guess right about there is good. I'll update that location. I don't know if this is going to be the same, though. I might have to change that maybe a little bit. Not really. Guess that's all right. Update that. See what the down look looks like. Yeah, pretty much the same. So anyway, yeah, here we are. Just doing a impromptu live stream on a Sunday afternoon. Been getting some work done on the Ornithopter, and just going to keep going here, see if anybody pops in. Got to make a repair here to the canopy. I knocked off one of the little handlebars that goes in there. One of the little photo etch bits, so I got to fix that. But I'll do that in just a second here. Might as well go down to the close-up here. Oh, look, Nigel's on. How you doing, Nigel? Just kind of spur of the moment thing on a Sunday. And I gotta fix the canopy here. I knocked off one of my little rails inside. Gosh, they all got kind of tweaked a little bit. When I was putting these glass in, it was really difficult to get these glass pieces in. By the way, they're so good to see me. Thank you. Yeah, these are covered up with that masking set, so that's why they look kind of foggy, because I had to trim off like the masking. This masking set was nice, but these are like the exact same size as the glass, and the glass has a border on it, like, you know, like a weather strip seal would be. So I took each piece and put it on my glass mat and trimmed them off like maybe a 32nd of an inch, really, all the way around to make them fit right. And then these big pieces too, the ones that they kind of fold, and then the inside piece has to go around a corner, so it actually fit differently than the outside piece because it's taking a shorter path to the edge. So I had to trim it, I had to mark it and trim it differently. Took a couple of tries, but I was able to get it right, and it looks good. They're all snapped in. I took off the masking on the inside, so they're all clicked in, but I'm leaving the outside on until I can once everything's painted and perfect, and then I'll pull the tape, because I'm going to have to use it too when I pop it onto the end of the Ornithopter here. I'm going to have to use it as a protecting for the glass when I paint everything in the area. So right now I'm just trying to, this handle is supposed to be, these little grip, or the edges of it are supposed to be bent kind of at a 90-degree angle, like a handlebar, or like a towel bar almost. It's in the Ornithopter in the movie, they've got these little handrails that you can use to pull the glass shut. That was a big mission. Yeah, it was a little bit time consuming, but I was able to. It actually worked out good. I mean, with the big pieces, I had to take them off a couple times. I put them on, see where it was kind of, and trim a little bit more off. But in the end, I was able to. I may have to fix more than one of those little rails. You can see the those bars in there, the photo etch, and then further up along the top edge. This is the way the windscreen goes, but flip it over. You see way up in there, there's some rails that go all the way down, like the length of the glass. How's work going? Let's not talk about work. It's been one hell of a learning curve, and shit, did I just knock it off? I hope not. Crap. I lost my little handlebar. Where did it go? Fuck. Oh, there it is. Whew. I got my really high magnifiers on, so I couldn't see it real well. Work has been challenging to say the least. With no real training, I'm having to learn everything. Next topic, yeah. Settled down a bit? Not really. Like I said, it's been trial by fire, really, and everything I had to. A couple times where I was just like, I don't want to do this. This is getting ridiculous because I don't know how to work the software programs. I've never been trained on them, and my boss is finally starting to realize that. I think he pulled me aside one day and he's like, "So, have you seen this screen before? Have you seen?" And I'm like, "No." "Have you seen this screen before?" "No." "Have you seen this screen before?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh my God, man, I am so sorry." I'm like, "I know. This is what I've been trying to tell you, man. I don't have the training I need. I don't like not knowing what I'm doing, and it's frustrating. I feel stupid sometimes, and I don't like it. So let me get this glue back on. It's going to be a little tricky. I'm using the black thin because it'll really get in there nice and quickly. Once I get this, plus it takes a little bit longer to dry, so I can move it around a little bit. But then I'll just hit it with some of this accelerant here once I got a little bit of adjustment here. So I just decided, my wife and I were talking about it. She's like, "Oh, why don't you go do a live stream?" I'm like, "All right, no announcement, no nothing. I'll just create one real quick, get on the laptop and see who pops in." So I started getting training now after all that. They hooked me up with my advisor, who was supposed to be teaching me, who really should be the one to teach me what I'm doing, because if anybody would know this job, he should. He's really good at what he does, but it's like I need to know what he knows, and I can't get it when he's. I think I'm going to leave that one alone. These two are slightly bent, but I don't mind the angle that they're at, and they'll show up better through the side glass. So because these long ones here, they were sticking straight out, but they're just kind of a little bit tweaked up a little bit. Even the other side of the small one is kind of there, but I can go in and touch up that by hand, touch up the paint anyway. Let that sit there and dry. So I'm almost ready to seal this out, but anyway, getting back to the work thing, it's been tough, and the hours suck, and I'm dealing with people that don't really want to work, and they just, we went through I don't know, maybe you didn't even know this, we went through a complete company restructure. They laid off a bunch of people. So fortunately, I was able, my job was secure, but they got rid of, I lost 2 techs on my team. We got 2 people on the day shift that got let go, bunch of managers, and a bunch of all the diagnostic specialists got removed. They completely eliminated their position. So every single location lost their DSs, and it's just been really interesting couple of weeks. So, but anyway, I'm gonna let this dry, and then I might actually seal this up. I've got the body of it in here, and I don't need to worry about. I knocked off the control panel accidentally, so I got to glue that back on. But I've got these all, the logos in there and painted, and I got this whole section. But what I want to do is steep learning curve. Yep. Well, my boss is trying to be helpful. He just didn't realize the extent of how little training I had, and it was just like, "You don't know this, you don't know this, you don't know this." I'm like, "No." It's like, "Oh God, man, I'm so sorry." It's like, "Yeah, man, I know. Trust me, I feel bad too. I don't like not knowing my job. I feel like I'm, it's like pulling teeth sometimes." So I gotta make sure this completely comes together. You can see that little gap there, and that's just from the way the photo etch interior kind of sits. I've also got to touch up the edge of it here because you can see the brass underneath the paint because of all, handling it and everything. It's kind of rubbed off the very, very edge of that. So I'll go back over that by hand and color that later with the interior color. It won't show up too much once the landing gear piece is put in set, but I still want to have that colored, so I'll make sure I do that. And yeah, but I'm thinking about gluing this together in the next few minutes here. I've got all the seat belts in that need be. I can put the figures in from here without the canopy on it. It'll be simple to pop this on and off and be able to set my figures and stuff in there. And then the last step will be to put on. But what I need to do is I got to get this roof piece lined up so I can I can fix these seams on these edges here, because I think the seam around here is fine. That's an intentional seam around the canopy section. But the roof section, I think, has to be solid. So I'm going to have to fix some seams and repaint everything. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. So we'll see who pops in. If anybody wants to chime in and say hello in the chat. Nigel's always good for it. But yeah, so I've been doing a little bit of work on this on the weekends. I haven't been able to do much, but this was kind of tricky getting us all painted and everything, because I got all these different colors and it's very difficult to mask all this. I mean, the top section was pretty easy, but this was pretty hard up here and around these edges. But I had a couple little touch-ups here and there when I was taking the masking off. I could see where I needed to. So for the time being, I'm going to separate this. If I can get this off, I just have to very, very carefully. There we go. It's always a little tricky when it comes to that. All right. So I think I'm just going to glue it in, because I also have a couple seams on the bottom here that I also have to fix. But when I glue this in, I need to make sure it's all the way tight, closed together. But I think I'm ready to do that. I've gone far enough with this separate. That's why I painted all this ahead of time, so I didn't have to worry about masking a bunch of stuff off later. I only got a couple of seams to fix, and then I can just repaint those surfaces easily enough. So yeah, I just decided to turn everything on a Sunday and see where it takes us. See, I don't know how long we'll be on today, but we'll just keep going until I get bored or something. I don't know. Won't get bored with Nigel here, though. That's for sure. All right. So I think the best course of action is to just kind of pop this in on one side, get some glue in there into that edge, and then press it together. I'm going to lose this. I don't need that anymore. That's just my note for gluing. And once this seam is nice and tight, then it will be a lot easier. So this is it. This is what everybody's been waiting for, to seal this thing up. Press this in. Okay, hold this for a second, because I don't care about the glue squeezing out, because I'm going to have to sand this down and fix the seam anyway. Great to see you back. Yeah. Sunday surprise. Hey, what's up? Mr. Artis. Yeah, a little impromptu build. I decided to do a broadcast, even though I've been working on this on the weekends a little bit, not much, but decided, why not just throw together a live stream, see who comes on, and hang out for a bit. Maybe, glue some stuff together. I got the canopy. Got the glass in that as well. I got that all masked off. The edges are also masked. I was just telling Nigel I had to trim like all these pieces were great cuts, but they're also made to fit exactly the same size as the glass. And the glass actually has a border around it where you'd like a seal would be, like a window seal, glass seal or something like that. So I took each piece and put it on my glass cutting mat and trimmed it down about a 32nd of an inch all the way around on average. Some of them, some was a little bit bigger depending on the piece, but so now when I mask them off, I could paint that edge and leave it black. So those little locking lugs that hold those pieces in kind of disappear, because if you don't paint them, they're just these big, bright glass, shiny glass pieces. And that's when this must be the first time in several weeks that I haven't seen you glue plastic instead of damn PE. Yeah, right. I know, and I just fixed one of those photo etch pieces in the canopy there, because I noticed it was bent, and I tried to straighten it, and I knew it was going to pop off, and it just popped off in my hand. So I'm gonna hold this for a little second more, and then I'll show Phil what I'm talking about. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Work is okay. There's been times where I've definitely not enjoyed it, and I mean that's I guess that's the nature of the beast. But all right, now we're gonna get the other side, and this is where it's gonna get fun, because I'm gonna glue this entire piece, and then I'm also gonna put this piece on the spine. This will hold the whole back section together. I'm gonna have to squeeze this together in the front because it's there's a little bit of resistance because of the photo etch. And Strawberry messed that up. I remember ages ago when I were talking about canopy frame and the molding lines on it. Yeah, I mean the cuts are great. They fit perfectly for the entire glass piece. But if you wanted to paint that edge properly, it has to be slightly smaller. So that's all I had to do. It just had to go around each one and just trim it off. I just used my eyes. I didn't do any measuring. I just put my straight edge down and trimmed them off, and it worked out perfect. I haven't pulled haven't pulled them off yet to see if I need to do any touch-ups, but I think it'll be all right. Wonder if Aztec dummy masks are cut better. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. All right, so we're going to put this together now. This is the last time this is ever apart. So let me slide this in. Ooh, there we go. Just wanted to get it close so I can get my glue in there. Actually, you know what I want to do? Take this back off. Okay. I want to put just a little bit in these. So got a little bit of glue in these pegs here. There. That'll hold everything. The rest will be done by seams. This really is a precise fit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get it close, and then I'll squeeze it all together here. All right. Got to move kind of quickly here because I want these seams to completely go away, but I got to squeeze it together here, and then I'll squeeze the tail section together too. Put that spine piece on. That will kind of keep everything together up top, but this is really one of the trickier spots is up here. And then I'll go back over and repaint all of it. So I'm going to run some plastic strip down these long seams, because these seam lines the way these pieces are molded, you'd have to sand down a lot to get it flat, because it's kind of cantilevered almost. Not a cantilever, but the angle is not straight. It's more like there's more like a V shape to it, a mild V shape to it. And that is you have to sand off a bunch, like I was saying, to take up that space. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to I'm going to glue it together here, but then I'm going to run a strip of very thin plastic down that top edge, and that will completely cover that up nicely. All right, so let me hold this together up here. You're still the only one on YouTube that have done this. Yes, photo I've sent for the Ornithopter. I am, huh? I thought I've seen it before. I thought maybe I've only looked at Ornithopter builds and not realized they weren't using the photo etch. I guess you're right. I have looked for it, but it's because it's really hard. It's not fun. It's pretty challenging. I don't need to be perfect on this seam either, because I am going to cover that up. But I want to get this on there because I gotta put this spine piece on here. Here we go. So I'm going to do this real quick. This just on this big knob here, and then there's a smaller one here. Then I'll go around the entire edge. So this helps hold that whole piece together. There we go. Okay, so that'll hold the back together. I'll go back and just put a little bit down the edge of this. That will seep into all those. A little wicking in there and get all that sealed up. Now I can just paint it all at once. All right, I'm going to kind of squeeze this, just kind of hold everything together. Let this see, and then I got a pretty decent seam right here. You can see right down the middle that I'm going to have to fix, but it's all right. Actually, most of that will be covered up because when this landing gear piece goes on, it's going to cover up this whole back piece. So actually, really, just the nose is, if I really wanted to get technical, I don't need to fix this back portion because it'll be covered up. I mean, the back of the cockpit, front, back. You know what I mean. Let's see. My hobby bench has been very quiet lately. Yeah, most of it was going into my workshop. That's good. Well, my wife and I were talking about it the other day, yesterday, and she was afraid that I might start losing some of my viewers because I haven't been able to get on regularly, and so that was another reason for doing this today too, is just to kind of make sure I'm, let everybody know I'm still alive, still working, doing my thing. But I was just saying, real life gets in the way sometimes. You have to do. It's just a hobby at the end of the day. So with this whole piece kind of secured, I can put the canopy on, and then that will allow me to get the proper angle for this. Because if I don't, it kind of sits further down than it should. It needs to sit up a little bit. These little tabs line up with the top of the canopy. You can see the canopy has a tab here, and so this goes, sits right on top of that. So then I can pop this in and just glue it. Get the back portion glued first, get it kind of in place, and then I'll just barely touch the front corners here. I don't want to get too much in there because then it'll accidentally glue this on in place, and I want to make sure I can take that back off because I still got work to do in there. But for the time being, I'm just going to hold this. Damn, what an excellent wife you have, telling you to go do a stream. 10 points, Mrs. Wayne. She's going to love hearing that. Yeah, I haven't been able to do much. I mean, I get home, I go to work, I leave the house by 8:45, maybe 9 o'clock at the latest, because it takes about an hour and a half sometimes to get into work, start work, and then leave at 7 p.m., get home at 8 p.m. And it's just enough time to take a shower, go to bed, do it all over again. So it's not supposed to be permanent. My boss is still telling me that I'm going to end up, my schedule will go back to normal. But it's been a rough few weeks, especially with all drama and other crap going on, and then the company restructure and all for the new model that just came out, the R2. That was the reason for the R2 readiness restructure. What's up, Alexander? How you doing? Don't know, have I seen you before? Apologize if I forgot. It's been a minute since I've been online, so I've been trying to just do this little impromptu live stream, kind of let people know I'm still alive and still working on the Ornithopter here. So those that just joined us, I'm just gluing in this this photo etch interior piece. It's all in place now. It's not going to come back apart. So I hope I don't have to do anything. I will have to shim up these front receivers here, because you can see the distance between the body and this whole opening and then this opening. It's a lot deeper at this end of it because the body splays out. So what that does is when these go in, these are going to sit in there somewhere kind of like this. Okay. So the height on this one is good. Oh, you saw me work on the Orgus kit. Yeah, okay. I thought I remembered you. Yeah, that was a bit ago. So you see how this looks pretty good. Like the height is good. It's sticking out far enough through the hole. I don't think I really need to put any shim underneath this. But the ones that go up here, you can see how far down they're kind of too deep in the hole. And I'm not sure if Green Strawberry thought of that when they were designing this, because they made the interior almost a straight tube. It does get slightly wider at the front, but not as wide as the actual kit. So you can see if I put this roof piece on, then those front holes are going to be pretty deep. I'm trying to get an angle on the light there so you can see everything's black right now, so it's a little bit challenging. But so if I just hold this there and I drop this in, you can see how far down that is. It's really too far in the hole. So I am going to have to put some kind of I'll get some plastic round, or I don't think I have any plastic rod that thick, unless I use like an acrylic piece. I know I've got some 10 millimeter acrylic, but that's pretty hard to cut. And so I'm going to have to shim the back of those so they'll stick out a little further and be a little bit, better to as far. And the ones in the back and the bottoms here, the larger holes here on the bottom, those are about the same all the way across. So I might need to use a little bit in the front just because it's slightly deeper, but they're kind of the same way. If you drop one of these in, see, it's about the same. It comes right up to about the edge of that cone, which is just about right. I'll look at the original, the instructions to see kind of how far out it's sticking. I may have to shim them all up just slightly, just to put a little bit underneath it. But well, it's kind of hard to tell because these were originally designed to pivot. There's a gear in there that's supposed to pivot up and down, so they don't stick straight through the holes. They kind of take an angle almost like this instead of flat. Like this is flat on that piece, but it needs, it could be this way. Which, yeah, see, if I do it like this, they're going to be angled upward. Whereas if they're straight out, if you wanted the wings to be all in line, they'd have to be taped or angled. So it would have to be a wedge shape in there to bring these further up. So that's something else I'm going to have to play around with and see if I don't know. I might like the angle that it is, and if it looks good, I'm going to leave it alone. It'd be a lot easier. But if I have to, I can always shim up a piece of a little bit more. I got to squeeze here. Just trying to get this seam nice and tight because the photo etch was pushing out on a little bit. If I just put it together normally, it would want to separate by about 30 seconds, be a little bit of a gap there. So there may be a bit of play in those bits because of the working function. Yeah, well, like I said, they were in a ball joint that kind of had a mesh, and so they would pivot up and down slightly, just so you could put them in whatever angle. They didn't move much. They really just kind of only a couple of teeth really. It wasn't a lot of movement, but they did pivot a little bit, and I think with the photo etch in there, it gives that receiver a much more drastic angle than the kit would have originally given. So I can either shim it with a wedge, so it's a little more true to the original angle, or just shim them straight out so they're the right height, and then the wings will just be tilted a little bit more. It actually might look kind of cool because they'll be opened up more, like with the bottom wings going straight out and the top wings kind of going up at an angle. It might actually give it a nice dynamic look to it. So, Orgus 2 Olsen spec, nice. I need to familiarize myself a little bit more with the Orgus stuff because I've always kind of liked it, and then because I love Macross, it's very, very similar. But the Orgus, I haven't remembered all of the different names of the different mechs or different. Like you could ask me all about all the Valkyries and Macross, and I could tell you each variant, off the top of my head. But Orgus is one of those things I don't remember them all, because I think what we got back in the 80s, even though it was from the Orgus series, it was when Revell had those kits, and they resold them under their own brand, and they called them things completely different. So I did get an Orgus replacement because I needed a part out of it that I messed up when I made the Orgus build. So I ordered one so I could get it, but it was that same. I don't even remember that. I'd have to go look at the box. It's still in there. Definitely, if it looks right, it's right. It's right. It's right, Nigel. If it looks wrong, it's wrong. Yeah. I'll be able to see once I get the roof section on, and the body's pretty stable that way, because it's once everything's glued together, it's really going to be structurally sound. It's going to be a little bit easier to handle. It's been very delicate with dealing with this photo etch because it is so delicate. And then I've got these resin pieces, that are glued to the inside. You can see them inside there. Those resin rounds, those are all resin pieces, and they come through the back. That's what these discs are. You can, but they kind of mask a little bit because I use that clear black glue on the back here to kind of finally do a final seal on those. But those were all those discs that kind of came through the top and the sides to create that interior look. And then you can see straight through to the front cockpit. Got the seats folded up behind the other seats. There's the cockpit, the pilot seat's missing because I still have to do the figure. I got to do the resin figure and then see how far his arms reach, and so I can place the seat in the right spot to have him the right distance away from the control levers, and so his feet sit on the pedals properly. So I'm just holding this, letting it get a nice, good, tight glue seal. I'm about ready to let it go. It's pretty good right now. It's not moving. I don't see any separation anymore, so we're good. In action diorama. Can you put an electric shake in the base to make it vibrate a little bit? Yeah. I did see someone in a few years ago at one of the IPMS events I went to. It was probably early on. It might have been the same kit, but it was early on after the movie had just come out, and somebody had built one of these, and they used spaghetti or something to in a circle to make it look like the worm. They had little thin strands of some material. I don't. It might have been plastic, but I don't know. It didn't look like it. It looked like they used something else, but they had had one of these kind of elevated off the top of it, and then they had that big round hole with all those fibers coming in to look like the worm, the mouth of those worms. I don't know if I want to go that deep, but we'll see. I always say, I'm not going to get too crazy with it, and then comes time to build it, and I start getting crazy with it. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, that's pretty solid now. I think I can pop this canopy on here. That handrails had plenty of time to dry now. So you can see the little handrails inside. Those are all photo etch. The tricky part is because the glass now is in, I can't see what I'm doing. I have to make sure I'm straight lined up when I go in with this, so it pops in exactly where it's supposed to. Oh yeah, that's a nice snug fit. Okay, looks good. See, that's the thing that concerns me. I wonder if I got to take a little bit more off the top, because you can see there's a lip right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, right there. There's one on each side. That means that this is slightly pushed up, and I think that's because of the photo etch. So I may have to, I don't know. I know I'm definitely going to have to, I think I'm going to have to paint this again because I've got a little bit darker finish. I may have to remask. Now that I have these painted and in, I can mask around the edges at least to cover up the seal, the trim, the edges of those windows, and then repaint this canopy section to match the body because it's a little bit darker here. I painted them separate, and now I can tell because they definitely don't match. You can actually see the color difference here and here. You can see that it's slightly different, but all I got to do is cover up the black edges of the glass and each one of these. I don't even have to really do the top. I think the top is probably fine. I just want to blend. Yeah, I might have to do that anyway. Maybe I'll just do this whole section and not worry about the crossbars. I think the crossbars look good. If I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I got to blend these edges so those colors match. So I couldn't see them together. I didn't paint it when it was on here because I didn't have the glass in when I did the frame on it. What's up, Pandrin? How you doing? That sounds badass. Yeah, with the opening, the opening of the mouth of the worm. But I should be able to at least get this on there. Well, maybe not. This is also standing up slightly higher. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to pop this canopy back off, which is definitely a challenge. I'm going to hold this close to my body here. Oh God, that's such a scary. Oh shit! I bent the shit out of it. See, that's what I was afraid of. Damn it! All right, well I can glue this back down. This photo etch, I kind of snagged it on the way out. I was trying to be careful with that. All right. Trials and tribulations, guys. This is what happens. You see this? I'm going to scrape off some of this old glue. At least it didn't get too damaged. Hard drop, yeah. At least it's all fixable. All right, and I'm going to have to glue this down and then hold it for a good couple minutes. I think I have a little bit of glue left on this piece, so let me see if I can get that off. So this was just kind of an impromptu build day. I didn't plan on doing this. I just decided to get on and build for a bit, hang out. No set time limit. Just kind of see what's going on and see who wants to hang out. All right, I gotta fix this. This is bugging me. Yeah, this poor thing. This has been one of the most challenging pieces of photo etch I think I've ever had to deal with. Let's see, I think I can straighten this out a bit with these. Just trying to get that bend out of it. There we go. So now I'll go straight back down. sort of straight back down. All right. It kind of floats there in the middle. There's nothing behind. There's only a tab, like a triangle shaped tab on the top here. There's nothing down in this edge. So what I was talking about doing was you can see kind of where, let me put this tab. So right on top here where this tab is, this is the tab that goes right over the top of that photo etch, and it looks like it's hitting right there, and that's what's lifting up this canopy slightly. So the only way to do that is to maybe take a chisel. You're not going to see this anyway because it's kind of in the back. I'll try to do a clean chisel here because I will have to paint it because it will be right at the top of the roof. I mean, it's not going to be very visible, but it might be back there. Actually, you know what? No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you'll see it or not, but I'll try to take a little bit of this material out so this sits down just slightly further. But we'll do that in a minute here. The Orcus just broke. Oh no. That was an old 80s kid, isn't it? So if that's the case, it's probably because it's so brittle. I had problems with mine. One of the knees just kind of just exploded one day. I was trying to pose it, trying to bend the knee a little bit, trying to get it in a certain position, and it just exploded. There was, it was barely being held together, and took everything. I had to pose it a certain way too because it didn't want to stand properly, the same way exactly. After that, it kind of. I gotta use my pliers here. I gotta fix this triangle tab. This side in particular was always a little bit off. I'm just trying to clean up the straight edge of this so this piece will fit right down on top. Okay, that's pretty good there. All right, I'm gonna hit it with some glue now. For PE, I got all the VMS stuff, so I got every single product on the planet here from VMS almost, as far as their glue line is for photo etch and stuff. This is just the masking instructions for the masking set, which I didn't really need, but I mean, it kind of shows you like, here's how you do that inside and out. But like I was telling the guys earlier, these pieces were cut perfectly to match the exact size of glass. The only problem is there's a border that you can see molded into the glass that looks like a seal, like you'd have a black rubber seal around the window. And I wanted that to be black. I wanted to paint that. So I took each one of these little masking pieces off the sheet here. This is the sheet. And I had to put them on, I stuck them to my my masking plate, and trimmed each one of them down about a 32nd of an inch all the way around, and then put the piece back on, stuck it on the glass so I could see how much, and see it, make sure that seal was good so I could paint it. I wanted to paint that seal black. All right, I got some glue on there. Now I'm going to squeeze this together. Hopefully, I'm going to do this by hand. I think that's the only way I'm going to do it, because I got to get that angle right. It's got that point has to peak right at the top. So I think I'm just going to sit here and hold it, and hopefully I'm not glued to this thing when I'm done. Am I 80s kids? Yep, that's the one. If it broke, I totally understand it because it happened to me. It's just so old. The stuff is just so brittle. They probably, even if it wasn't just because of the age, I think just the plastic in general in that decade, they didn't make it the same way they make this stuff now. It's much more durable, it seems. But it probably has to do with age, I imagine. Whew, for a second there, I thought I was glued to it. I felt my thumb trying not to pull away, and I was like, uh-oh. That's all I need to do is have to repaint this thing now once I get glue all over it. Well, that stayed down nicely. Yeah, so that's fixed. I'll keep my hand on it just for a little bit longer here. So talk to me, man. What's up, Mossad? Is that how you say that? How's it going? Talk to me. Well, we're here. Just doing an impromptu live stream. Just trying to let the folks know I'm still here. The new job is occupied a lot of my time, but I am still alive and kicking. Still working on the Ornithopter. One thing I don't like about these nozzles is no matter how hard you try to keep them clean, you always get a little bit of glue on the outside. There we go. Scrape that off. I like that needle, that goes down the middle. At least that seals it nicely, but I hate trying to keep those nozzles clean. They always seem to get plugged up a little bit, especially on my, I noticed it most on my my Bob. Was it whatever super glue that? Where is it? Where did I put it? I don't know where it is. Hiding. Oh, there it is. Yeah, my Bob Smith Industries glue. Notice if you don't use that up, you buy too big a bottle of that, and then you end up wasting it because it turns yellow and ages. So, all right, got a new towel here. So how's everybody doing? Let's see, just made bacon and eggs for breakfast. That's cool. And we had brunch with similar to that. We had an egg, I guess it was a frittata, I guess, and some bacon. And yeah, that was pretty tasty too. We just had that too before I got on screen here. What is this? This is the Atreides Ornithopter from the movie Dune. Let's see if I can get this in picture. There we go. So from a company named Mang, they are a really good model company. They seem to make very, very, very nice, very nice models. I'm going to maybe take a little bit of this material out right at the top here. I want to see where this sits. See, if I do this sits low. See, if I pop this on and kind of squeeze the top together just a little bit to line up these front lines, this sits fine. It sits up off of the photo edge. So it's got to be this guy. This is what's got to be sticking up slightly, and then that's causing this to pitch up as well. Because when I put this on, I saw a little bit of a lip. Yeah, boy, does that fit in there tightly. And that's why I ended up yanking this off the last time when I took the canopy off. It pulled that photo etch away. I've got to be really careful. It was a lot easier when the glass wasn't in it because I could kind of grip it a little bit better. But with this on there, yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of material off because I think this top piece, let's see if you can see this, right here in front of that tab, that's hitting right on top of that photo etch right there. And it's causing this to kick up slightly, just enough to expose an edge there. And then it also misaligns that roof piece. Take angle cut on the leading edge of the tab. This tab, you talking about this tab? I don't think this is the tab that's hitting it. It might be. I see what you're saying. Like just leave this tab alone and that side of it and shave down the inside. Chisel the shit out of that tab. Well, I did have to take a bunch of material off of this. This roof piece had a lot that I had to cut away. In fact, I could probably show you the original Great Strawberry instructions. Let's see if I can find the one that shows that piece. That's not it. Let's see, is it this one? Nope. Not that one. This one maybe. Yeah, see, so there's the original ball joints with those receivers, and you can see how this whole ball gear section got cut off. You won't be gluing the canopy on there. Probably not. It seems like it fits tight enough I wouldn't have to worry about it. I'm just trying to get it straight. Especially if I'm not worried about those seams, you know. Because I think the seam lines on the canopy are intentional. Oh, where is it? Maybe it is this one. One of these has, well, that's all landing gear. Maybe it's this one. Only one I didn't pull out of the box. That's probably it. Yeah. So there's the roof piece. All this had to be cut off, shaved out, and completely cut down. I had to completely cut this out. So it looks like that. That to that. I think I did a pretty good job. And then on the top here, you see they had to cut this out and that out to make room for the roof line of that photo edge. That way you don't take it off, risk bending the photo edge again. Yeah, this is true. The problem is I still have work to do in the cockpit. I've got the pilot seat and the control panel and everything like that, and I got a figure that's got to sit in here in this left front seat, and these are empty because the other two figures are on the loading ramp in the back, and then the pilot sits up here. But I want to get the roof piece lined up and on and glued so I can cut those seams out. I want to be able to paint those seams and take care of that. So when I do stick this on for the very last time, it's there to stay. But I also have to put this on. I don't know. I also have to put this on and blend those colors because they're definitely not the same color. I went a little bit heavier on the body here than I did the canopy. So when I put them together, you can see that the canopy is darker than the rest. So yeah, I'm just going to shave off a little bit here. I'm going to try your idea first. Let me see where that tab sits. So when this goes on, yeah, you know what? It might just be that. I think it's still hitting there though, because there's a witness mark on here. There's a scratch, like right here. Let's see, focus. Stupid. Okay, you see that scratch right there? The tab might be, I might shave a little bit off of this, but I think it's hitting right there. So if I take a little bit of that off, it should be fine. Then I can just paint over that. And again, that's right at the top of in the back of the canopy, so it's really not going to be noticed. You'd have to really look at a really stupid angle to see all the way back here up on that roof. You really need to make finished videos of your builds once you have more time. Finished videos? You mean like just showing the whole thing done? Well, I usually do a wrap up. You know, at the end when I'm done with a build, I'll do what do we call it? Like I'm trying to think what we call it. You know, when you do what's the term? I can't think of the name. Kits ready to sell and build. You got to get some kits ready to sell and build, Alexander? Oh, I got to get some kits ready to sell. I don't know what you're talking about. I know Hendra's saying I need to make some finish. I usually do like a follow-up at the end of a build, and like when I announce the next project, I usually do a final show of the previous one that I just finished. I'm just trying to take off. I'm just using this 4-inch chisel, kind of going right down, because that's about the width of this roof piece. If you look at this here, actually it's about 5 millimeters. So I'm just taking off a little bit of material right where that witness mark was. And we'll see. If I keep damaging that photo etch, then yeah, I'm going to have to rethink this. But I'll try this one more time. proper video with bright lights and music. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't do enough of the post build stuff. I try to include as much as I can during the process, and then I take a lot of good photographs, but I haven't actually produced a bunch of videos. All right, let me see if I can take off a little bit of this tab now. I need a stick that's got more. Oh, no. I know what I need. This guy right here. Let's see if I can. Take a little of this material off and out this tab. Let's get in there. What's up, Nick? No wonder I always miss your streams. Well, it didn't send you a notification. Well, I didn't build this and send it to you. I just created it and started it today. I didn't have an official like YouTube. Normally, I used to do it like a couple days in advance of the video. I just decided to get on and start a live stream, kind of a la George, but everybody knows when he gets on. I was just sitting there. My wife and I were talking about it. And she's like, I don't want you to lose your viewers. You should get on and do a live stream. So I'm like, all right. So get on and do a live stream. That's why there wasn't a big fancy description. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna build some stuff here. All right, let's see if we can get this on there. Isn't sending you notices? Huh? It should have. Well, I think it should go right when I start the video, but maybe it's because I don't create them in YouTube. Maybe that's why. Because I usually create these videos on StreamYard and then it's uploaded from there. Whew. What was that? I don't hear anything rattling around. That's kind of scary. It's still sticking up, and I can see. Look. Yep. Yeah, it is definitely hitting. It's definitely hitting right under there. So I'm on the right track here. I'm going to have to just take off a pretty deep groove in that. Let's see if I can get this off without screwing up my fucking photo etch again. God, this is sketchy. Oh, that was better. I'm going to do it from that way from now on. Okay. It's definitely hitting right here, right on the front of this. And that's what that mark was. So I've got to just take out a decent chunk right dead center. There you go. Sand the shit out of that. Yeah, I don't know if it's the tab that's hitting it, though. I'm going to take more of this tab off because really the only thing that needs to support is the top of it. Because this sits on top like that. So the bottom I don't give a shit about. I'll make it as thin as possible. But I still need to chisel out more there because when I use my light, I could see right down in that area. And it looked definitely like it's definitely hidden. That's getting there. And I can repaint this easily enough. It won't be hard. It's far enough away from the glass or anything. I could just use a lot of low pressure air and just shoot that color right over it again and be just fine with it. Yeah, it's pretty thin now. I'm going to leave that alone. All right, now let's just take off some more of this with the chisel. This is, like I said, this is right where it's digging, so I'm going to just use the blade of the chisel and kind of grind out some of this material here. And then I'll straighten the edge up from the other side when I mean, I doubt we're going to see this anyway. Like I said, it's way up there. You'd have to be at a really crazy angle to look up here and see it, even if you could from the outside. Once this is on, because it's way up here on the. It's way up here behind everything. The glass, I mean, the glass doesn't even, the glass stops here. I mean, yeah, you're probably never gonna see it, but I'll make sure it's at least painted and covered up. What chisel is that? This is one from USA Gundam Store because I couldn't find a 3.5 and a 4 in Sujiburo or the BMC chisels. You know, even though their sticker sheets show like a 4 and a 3.5 on their sticker sheet, but you never can find it anywhere. So I got these. These are called was it Line Master? Yeah, Line Master. And this is a 4mm chisel, and then like I said, I got a 3.5 as well. But the rest of the ones I own are all BMC chisels, and they're really good. I mean, I'm kind of impressed by how sharp they are and durable they are. They're very comparable to a BMC. I don't know if USA Gundam Store still has them or not. I bought these a few years ago. So, but they do work quite well. Definitely not disappointed with the performance. So I don't want to go too thin here. I gotta make sure I'm not seeing through this plastic. It's not that thin. I also don't want to flex this canopy too much because I did have an issue with some of the photo etch little handrails I put in there when I was trying to put the glass in because it's just flexing. I was popping the handles off. That, you know, it's just a little tiny tab that's gluing it on. So I'm just trying to very gingerly take some material out of here. Let's get in there. I'm going to try it again now. All right. Here goes everything. Tungsten tips. I believe they are. You can see if it focuses, you can see the V shape. See there it is. See the V shape? That's the tip portion of it. So that's forge welded on there. All right. So now we got to go back in with this. Man. It's getting closer, but it's still flexing that roof line up. Yeah, it's got to still be hitting it. All right. Yeah, that works every time. I'm definitely doing it from that way from now on. I'm just grabbing it right here, and it just pops it right out without any damage. So I still got to take more. I think it comes forward more than I took off, so I stopped about an 1/8 or a 1/4 inch in, not even a 1/4 inch. And I think I've got to come up to about here to get that to fully miss. And I thought I was done with chisels on this thing. I've done so much chisel work to try to get this all to fit perfectly, and it's all worked out good, but can't really foresee this stuff until you get there. I just knocked my freaking handlebar off again. No, that was the other side. Okay. Who is it made by? Are we talking about the chisel? It's Line Master. That's the brand. I mean, I think I had to get the handles separate too, just like BMC. They didn't sell them as a unit, but it says Line Master. Yeah, even on the. I don't know. Other than that, I couldn't tell you. That's what's branded on the plastic handle and the smaller kit. Oh, the kit. Oh, the brand is Mang. Is that what you're asking? Who's it made by? Yeah, Mang. The kit that is. Sorry, I didn't see that. I looked down for a second. You remove enough material to make a smaller kitchen. Yeah. I'm gonna have to take I definitely have to take a Q-tip and some alcohol and clean the fingerprints off the glass on the inside here because I'm holding on to this piece pretty tightly to try to keep it from flexing, but I definitely don't want the fingerprints on the inside. Once I get this good, I'll oh, I just knocked off a handrail. Yep, it's down in there somewhere. There it is. Come on. That's all right. I can fix that. This is one of the photo etch handles, and I just heard it fall off. And that was the other side. I already fixed one side, and then I thought I bumped that one. And actually, a couple times when you install this, because the seats are so close to the edge, they barely fit next to these handrails. And I thought I was going to knock one off just putting it on and off, but I just bumped it with my finger, so I'll have to fix that later. So you had a lot of fitment issues? No, not a lot of fitment issues. This photo etch set handle isn't part of the kit. This is all green strawberry. So the fitment issues came up when I started trying to fit all the photo etch in there, because this whole interior is all photo etch, the whole thing, all the way to the back. It's all one solid interior, but all that inner workings had to be removed. Like if you look at the regular instruction booklet, I'll show you this part. Okay, this part here, this is the block that went in. This was like the whole gearbox for these things. They're all fit together. These cones were fit to pivot and move, so the wings can kind of pivot up and down. But that whole block section goes in the center here. This whole thing is removed, completely gutted. All these pegs, all this structural material, everything is gutted to make room for the photo etch interior. So if you look at the original cockpit, it stops right after the rear seats, but this goes all the way through. This whole deck, everything, all the seats, everything is all resin and photo etch from the green strawberry set. So that's what started the fitment problems, was trying to get the bends right, trying to get the angles right, trying to get this thing to fit in here correctly. And then, yeah, it's just a lot of trial and error before you glue everything, and you got to make sure it fits right and then glue it in. So that's where I was at. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Nigel was saying earlier, as far as I know, he says I'm the only one that's doing a YouTube with using this photo etch set. Everybody else has built, there's a lot of people who built this kit, but it's mostly straight out of the box without the photo etch. The photo etch was a huge challenge in and of itself. But I'm happy with it. I mean, I like the way it looks now that I finally got it to fit right, but I'm just trying to get this last little bit of this roof line to line up, because this is the top of this the interior is causing this to kick up slightly, and it's creating a gap here and here. Not a gap, but a lip, because these two edges here should be flush with the roof. These two edges here and here, and they're not. It should be sitting, because there's actually a lip right here, so they'll sit down right on top like a little landing, but they're actually kicking up slightly because it's that photo etch is coming in and hitting this. And if I look right, maybe I need to make this wider and take off a decent section, because where these angles come up, I wonder if it's hitting here and here as well. I don't think so. I think it's just right at the top, which should be right in the middle. Indeed. Black Country, what's up? Apex. Streams takes a long time. People are missing out. Target each section of the video and gather more attention. Yeah, you're all telling me things I keep hearing. I mean, my wife and I have been talking about I need to get video editing software or something like that, so I can make short videos and do all that stuff. I'm new at this, so I started paying for StreamYard so I could just broadcast to 3 locations at once. But that's as far as I got, I haven't gotten into, I still have a regular job and all that other stuff that I got to do during the day. So The hell was that? A dog screaming? Or a kid screaming? I can't tell. Somebody out here is dying. My backyard. AI viewers. Oh boy, here we go. Twitch starting to spam me again. That didn't take long. I always get spammed by Twitch. All right, so I took off a little bit wider. I'm going to go a little bit more forward. I thought one of my kids just screamed. No, that was on this end, Nick. All right, so how's the weather where you guys are at? We had a hot spell and then we got kind of chilled off a little bit, but now it's like humid right now, really humid. The temperature is nice, but you can still kind of feel it. It's muggy, I think would be the word for it. All right. So that looks pretty good. Let's see if I can now try this again and see if I can get it up in there. It's going to take off a little more. It sounds like a dog. All right. I'll fix that handrail later. Let me do this. I don't want to lose it because it is so damn small. I think I might have one or two extra, but I can't remember. Some of them they made more than what the kit needed, but I don't remember which ones. Let's see if this will go on there again. Oh, come on. It's like you got to get this front tab. Nope, see, that goes down there. All right. It's getting there, but you know what? I think I was right. That photo etch, even those angles, is pushing up the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to scrape off some more. Show what I'm talking about here. Let me get this back off. Okay. So looking in there further now, I can see like from here to here, it's actually pushing. This whole section is pushing up on that roof, and that's what's causing this to kick up slightly. So I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have, you can actually see a witness mark right here. And if you can see that scuff now, there's like a black right there. And that's going at this angle, which is where these photo etch pieces come up. I think I'm gonna have to scrape. I think anything back here is probably safe from view, but I've got to trim. I got to scrape off a little more of this material, or sand it. Could probably sand it. Be safer. Go straight across this whole top area. Just take a sanding stick and go right through here. Maybe take some of this off, and then I can, use some different grits to get it real nice and smooth, and then just repaint this back section. I'll just put a big piece of tape here in the middle. That might be the solution. I don't know. Scraping time, yeah. Either that or sanding. I don't know. Trying to figure out what's best. I think if I just go across here without hitting the glass, yeah. See, like if you look at that, it's kind of got that pattern. How long we've been on? Does it say how long we've been on? I don't even know what time I started. I don't know. Does it say how long we've been on stream? Anywhere? Oh, there we go. Hour and 15. Okay, not bad. Very careful sand with a drum on your rotary. I don't know about that. A little too aggressive. I like your idea, but I think it would be probably too aggressive. I mean, I'm going to have to. Let's get there. Very careful sand with the white. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Like I said, I think that's a little too aggressive. At least I think the glass helps the structural integrity of this piece. It doesn't flex as much now that the glass pieces are in there, but yeah, it was real flimsy when I was first doing this. It just seemed like, damn. I'm gonna have to carefully take a Q-tip with some alcohol and clean these windows on the inside, get all that dust out of there, because there's a lot of sanding dust that I can't seem to get out. I'll have to do that later. It's just, there's nothing I can do about it. Try not to get that. Let's try that and see. Wasn't much, but we'll see what it looks like. I want to just take a quick higher grit here so I can smooth that out. All right, let's see what this looks like now. Yeah, it is. That's 100. I mean, this one's 100 grit. It's, if you want to take material off quick. I mean, these. I don't even know what these are. These are like nail files, but they're pretty high grit too. Probably be around a 180, 200. But the 100 grit, when it's new, yeah, that works really well, really quick. Ooh, getting closer. Yeah, this side's, the right side is higher than the left, so I'm going to have to take off. I can press down on it. Yeah, but it's still not enough. I was saying, I think I could press down on it and hold it, and just glue it, but I don't want to glue it necessarily. I want to be able to just put this piece on and so I'm going to take out more off the right side, so it would seem. It's just easier to do this on the bench. This whole thing's flexing though. I don't like that. Hold it then. Your old Squadron sanding sticks were great. Last ages. Don't know if Squadron still makes them. Should it be worth a look maybe on their website or something? I'm going to try to take off a little more on the right than the left, but not bad. It's getting there. Slowly but surely. Yeah, it's like dead air right now. It's almost like I could use I'm going to turn my ceiling fan on, but I don't know if you guys would hear that or not. But it's just like when my window's open, it's usually nice, but there's just no air movement right now. Everything's just kind of stagnant. I wonder if I can scrape this a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to do too much of this, but if I keep it flat. Let's try the same over here. As long as you keep it flat, it goes pretty quickly. Trying to blow all this sanding stuff, trying to blow it out so it doesn't get stuck up in here in the glass. But all right, take my paintbrush, get it out of here so I don't damage that. I was doing some touch-up work with that earlier. I noticed that too when I was touching up some spots that didn't get masked perfectly. It was just like I could see the color difference, so I knew I had to probably repaint this with that the IDF, that gray color. It's more like brown, but the IDF color, because it was darker. The black primer is coming through because I didn't put enough on there, so it doesn't match the body. All right, once again, let's try this. Any Gundam projects on the horizon? Maybe. I haven't started thinking forward to the next project yet, but I did just finally get the O, so maybe I'll do the Master Grade O. Do some scribing, custom scribing or something on it. It's certainly a big enough palette of, as far as the canvas that you have to do custom work on. It's certainly big enough. Well, that's definitely getting closer. So let me see if that tip top is still hitting. Yeah, see the photo, it's the long triangle section. It doesn't look like it's hitting much, but it might still be. Yeah, it is still hitting. It's hitting pretty close to where I chilled out that section. So. Yeah, it looks like it's hitting like right in the middle. Nice big stompy. Yeah, exactly. Stompy robot. That's right. Big stompy. I don't know, but it's been a while since I've done it. Well, I can't say it's been a while since I've done a Gundam kit because I did the tank. But if you're talking about a mobile suit, yeah, it's been a while since I've done a mobile suit. I've done quite a few armor projects that were Gundam related, but not actual Gundam kits. This big wide chisel works pretty good at this for like taking down. As long as you're hitting flat, you can scrape some pretty clean flat scrape. Doesn't even require any sanding really. It's just dust it off and call it a day. Making a mess. I didn't know I was going to make a mess today. That's all necessary. Sometimes you got to make a mess. Now, this is right up at the top where those triangle sections come together, and I think they're hitting just off center of this, where the peak of that roof line is hitting. So if I can create an air gap between that, I should be able to. It should fit nice and. Ooh, what a mess. Don't do Santa's Mac for the O dips on that. Why people do that before? Santa's they do a Santa, like a Santa Claus, is that what you're talking about, like a Santa themed big O. Must be my COD watching you scrape that makes me want to do this. Yeah, if I can be the inspiration, that's fine. I mean, it's just slowly removing plastic very patiently. It's a lot, though. Well, it's definitely, I definitely took off that the feel of that ridge, because it's basically the negative of this on the roof here. You can see that tapered. That was also down here inside, so that's gone. It's just flat now. So let's see how close we are. Ooh, so close. Just a little bit more. Yep. That's right at the very top. Just right where that peak comes together. At least I figured out how to take this off without jacking up my photo etch again. So it's pretty much like right here and here. As those angles go, they kind of go down at this angle toward this point from here. And so it looks like it's hitting. It was hitting here, but I've scraped all that away. And then where the peaks come up, it's like right following that same line that's right up here at the top. So I'm just going to keep scraping this away here. I did this a lot, and the big body pieces, when I took all that material out. I mean, you guys will remember if you were here for the live stream, that covered that. It was a lot of this to get that material out. Trying to keep my mess to a minimum, but it's not easy. Just trying to keep it flat. Weirdo. Masochist. You love that noise, Nigel? Well, then go make some, I guess. What else can I do? What else are we going to do? I got a little more painting to fix there. Yeah. It'll go pretty quickly. Once getting this in, this was the hardest part, was getting that in. And then this, this is taking a little extra work, but once this is fit properly and it's glued in place, I think the rest is going to go pretty quickly. All right, now let's do this side again. Ah, it's going everywhere. So you know your workbench is being used when you got shavings everywhere. All right, let's, one more look. Oh, so close. This side's perfect. Actually, no, maybe just a tiny bit more. But you can see the lip is almost completely gone. It's just, it's barely there. Like if I push down on it, it goes away. My reputation precedes it. Oh God, dropping the ball created. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right, man. It's okay. People like certain smells. People like certain. There's all sorts of weird things that people like, and just like I like the smell of burnt metal, like when somebody's grinding on something in a shop or something, and you have that smell of that burnt metal. I don't know. It just reminds me of the working my dad when my dad was in the shop and those days, So this whole back section is going to be repainted. Oh boy. It's everywhere. All right, one more time on this side. I think I might have taken enough off of there. I don't know yet. Just a little bit more here. I'm going right up to that notch I cut out there, that peak. It should. I'll go back over this with a sander and make it nice and smooth. All right. Let's try one more fit here. Got to agree, burnt metal. Yeah. Anybody that's ever worked in a shop most of their life is probably familiar with that smell. Okay, I think I'm almost there. This side's perfect now. The left side, I mean, maybe just a hair more. So close. Started out as just like thinking I needed to chisel a little more, this one area in the middle turned into quite a bit more. It's all right. It's trial and error sometimes in this hobby. All right, then I got to fix that handle eventually too, but I will do that when I get this part done. am I missing here? Listen to or read some HFY stories. Friggin' hilarious. Sci-fi tales. Usually told from the alien's perspective. All right, that sounds funny. Actually, sounds like it might be kind of fun. This stuff's everywhere. All right, I'll take a little more off here. All right, I'm going to take a peek and see if I can see any of this from inside, even though it's hard to see through the glass, but because of the masking. Yeah, you know what? I think now if I, yeah, that fits great. See, before, what I noticed was, I mean, it still kicks up, and actually it doesn't. Before, when I put this top piece on, because this was pressing down, it was kicking up the back of this. I had to kind of hold it down in the back. It still kind of does it a little bit, but it's not like I'm not forcing it. So right there, I just let go. So I want to fix this seam, this seam, this seam, these 6 areas here, and then I can put this on and blend it. I got to remask all of the the glass so I don't cover up the black that I just put on the edges of it, and then blend this canopy into the body color so they match nicely. And then once I get these seams fixed too, then I can just paint this. You can really just start painting the whole thing. But that's why one reason for leaving all of the masking on is so I could airbrush whatever I need to without removing. So I'm going to have to put some more tape on the edges anyway, just so I don't mess up my my borders on the windows, and then that's good to go. And this roof piece, I think, will help. Should help hold this down. Like if I just barely press down, it's almost probably might take a little bit more of that material off, but it's really close to being perfect. Really close. Just maybe just a hair more, but it's getting there. Come on, there we go. Nice and easy like. Yeah, we're almost there. I'm just going to do just a little more. So we're an hour and 40 in, guys. You want to keep going? When you put the base for the wings on? Well, you mean you're talking about these receivers, these sockets? Once I get the roof and those seam lines all fixed and sealed up and painted, because this has to sit on top, but it really has to. It also lines up with the front canopy piece, because that kind of holds it in place here. It kind of holds it up. Then I'll see how deep, because I'm going to have to shim up these two. I think the rear ones are fine, and I think the 4 on the bottom are okay because they're the same distance, roughly the same distance in. Whereas these front 2 sockets are really deep, and they'll just fall in there. Like I think the ones in back here are fine. Like if I put this here, you can kind of see how far out it sticks, and they're angled up a little bit. So it'll be kind of cool because the top wings will be up, and the rear one or the bottom ones will be kind of straight out. But if you drop, almost lost it. But if you drop this into this hole, now you see how far down it goes. It's a little too deep in there. So I'm going to probably put something under the back of these before I glue them and experiment on how deep. Probably about 3 millimeters, I think, at least, to bring them out far enough. The nubbies, yeah. Yeah, it's a good name for them. So that's what I'm going to have to do. I noticed that seemed like, because if you look at with the roof off, you can see there's quite a bit of distance between, if I can get an angle where that doesn't look so black. There we go. So these are a lot closer to the opening than these are, because the body flares out, whereas the hallway is just a straight tube, almost a straight tube. It gets a little narrower in the back, but not quite. So I think I'll have to put some kind of a round here, like a plastic round or something, glue that that receiver right to that, so then they'll stick out a little bit further. Not too much, because obviously the wings are supposed to kind of be the same length, I think. I mean, the wings are all the same. I guess not. I guess it wouldn't matter. There's no difference in the wings, like the top ones versus the bottom. They weren't like different lengths or anything, I don't think. I'll measure them and be sure, but first thing I got to do before I can even, before I seal everything up completely, is I got to put the cockpit and I got to put the figures in there. And I've already got all the painting done for the landing gear and stuff. Like this piece pops on here, and then you got the ramp in the back, and then you'll have two figures right here on the bottom of the ramp. That it's just pulling that one guy in. You remember from the movie, the kid. Well, I can't remember his name, but ends up becoming the Duke at the end of it all. There. He's getting pulled in by Josh Brolin's character and rescued from the worm when the worm was taking down that spice hauler, spice harvester. So I don't know what kind of base I'll come up with yet either. Sure there'll be something. I might just try to keep it simple. I'm not going to try to do any crazy things like a worm or anything like that. But I will try to have something other than this. I still have the piece on the bottom. I cut out I modified this piece to match the one for the landing gear. There's two ramps. One's for landing gear down, landing gear up. But the landing gear down one didn't have these notches because it's not made to be in flight. So I had to cut those out. So rather than use this janky looking thing, I don't know. We'll see. I'll cross that bridge later. Have you watched the movies yet? Yes, I have. I did. In fact, I took a bunch of screenshots of the ornithopter so I could, use them as reference for colors and the figures. What their clothing looks like, what their gear looks like, so I can paint it properly when I put them together. I mean, most of the stuff they're wearing is black or gray. But when it comes to like the pilot, his head, he's got a helmet or he's got headphones on. They're painted a certain way. So I just took screenshots of that and the console in the ornithopter, so I could paint the console correctly. Stuff like that. I just wanted to get those things accurate, but I'm not going for straight screen accuracy, but as close as I can get, maybe. Because we've got, let's see, where is he? So this is Josh Brolin's character without arms, but that's him. Come on, focus. It's going to focus on my hand and not the figure, but there it goes. So he's going to be, reaching down and grabbing the kid who is in this position here on the ramp. Okay. And then you'll see, so I'll show you what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, like this, like I took photos of, the back of his helmet, her gear, what their suits look like, what the console looks like, his headphones. But what I'm trying to reproduce is this scene here where he is helping him up from the loading ramp, and that's the position he's in. That's the kid here. See, if you put him this way, like that, there we go. Perfect match. See that? So yeah, it'll be on the ramp. And those were all from the green strawberry sets you can get. The masking set was another set I got from Green Strawberry for this kit. There were 2 kits that included the resin, and the figures were in the 3rd set for the figure set. Yeah, it was another set of guys. So the one was all the interior and exterior stuff. That was all photo etch and some resin parts for that. And then the figures were another set of resin figures for each character. And it's basically the early on in the first movie where they're going out cruising around and they come across that spice harvester that's, that has to get picked up, and then they fail, and they have to rescue the crew. That's where this is kind of coming in, where these figures are. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. I might shave off just a tiny bit more, but let me look and see if I can even see. It's too hard to see because it's all fogged up. Yeah, it's too hard to see through the glass. So I don't think, I would be able to see some of that scraped off. I'm going to have to repaint that for sure, but I think you'd have to get a really crazy angle to see up in there. Yeah, knock that over. Oh, come on, there we go. Pretty good so far. I'm going to take off just a little bit more, but I think we're pretty good. So, glad you guys joined in. Let's see, let's go down here to see the whole mess of stuff. These are all the resin figures still. I got the landing gear still on pegs over there by the spray booth. And yeah, we got the canopy, just working on the fitment issues. Oh, thanks again. You're welcome. One of the detail shots, ramp interior. Yeah, I did. I got quite a few actually. I was looking at the ramp here because there's like a grill. Let me go to the close up again. I'll show this real quick. There's like a grill. It was photo etch that came off the back piece. Okay, you see these strips? It's almost like they fit together like this. And then when the ramp goes down, they extend. You still have a platform to walk on, but it's like a grate. So I was taking screenshots of that. Actually, I'll show you real quick before we go. So that was later on. Hang on. Yeah, so if we look at this one, if we zoom in, you can actually see the ramp going from the back, up into the cockpit. And you can actually see it pretty good right there too. I think once it focuses there, you can see the ramp. So that's what I was trying to get the detail for. The photo etch was just too flimsy, and those little tabs broke off. So I had to make some new ones with the plastic strip. So anyway, it's been great catching up with you. Yeah, great seeing you guys again. Thanks so much for joining in. Impromptu, like I said, we might do more of these. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be every week, but try to do some. I was trying to do a Friday night live stream, maybe, but just been hectic. Work has been really hectic, and so I'm getting through it. We'll make it out the other side of it, but it's just going to take some time. So anyway, thanks again for joining, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. From the bottom of my heart, love you guys. Thank you so much for your support and endless support. And so yeah, we'll try to keep doing this. I'll try to do once a week, but we'll see. Once fair season kicks in, I'll be busy all my weekends, so it'll have to be during the week, if anything. And Friday nights I'm usually down on site on the fair site too, so that's another thing. So we'll have to cross everybody. That's in the middle of July and into August. So anyway, we will. Oh, you have a great photo of the ramp, and okay, send it to me. That'd be great. Miss or Mr. Seacross. Yeah, send it to me. I would love to see that. If you got me, do you got me on Instagram or anything? Or my name's the same across all platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, you can message me either way. Whatever's easier for you. Or even, I don't know if you can put photos up in this, the YouTube chat or not, but not this screen, obviously, but maybe on the other. I don't know. But I'd love to see it. Yeah, if you got a picture of it, that'd be great. Anyway, we'll catch you guys next time. And we'll see, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. I appreciate it all. And we'll catch you on this one. Be good humans. All right.